The Trump-Harris scenario has become a layered subject as the minutes tick by until the first exit poll emerges. Uh, a, 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 it reflects a confluence of complex issues, legal, moral, cultural, particularly around Trump's controversial persona, his legal entanglements. Will he actually, if he doesn't succeed this evening, will he find himself in court, or will the courts be waiting for him in January, whatever, whenever it is, in 4 years' time, the moment he steps out of the White House? Trump's controversial situation. We're seeing more than just typical partisan divisions here. It's an examination of American values, democracy, and the rule of law. Harry Littman, a legal expert and a former U.S. attorney, argued that Trump's legal predicament, such as the 34 criminal charges in New York, will not simply vanish if he's re-elected. While a sitting president might evade incarceration because of practical and legal precedents, Littman emphasized in the LA Times that these cases will hang over Trump's presidency, much like a sword of Damocles, and Littman's view aligns with an assessment of Trump's tenure as a crime spree, hinting that re-election might inadvertently solidify a sense of impunity in high office. Reflecting this, Nick, a caller on a British YouTube broadcast, noted that the simple dichotomy posed by some voters choosing the candidate that's not the rapist or the criminal, it's a blunt assessment that speaks to a rising moral fatigue in both the US and the UK. When commentators and callers find themselves without further words, when when this choice becomes the litmus test, it's clear that the Trump era has prompted voters to prioritize ethical baselines over political nuance, or simply not to care. Emma Barnett, a British journalist, recently published a piece exploring the stakes surrounding Trump's potential policies, including an unlikely yet publicly entertained idea appointing Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a prominent vaccine skeptic, to lead health initiatives. Trump's openness to conspiratorial rhetoric, especially on vaccines, reinforces global concerns about science denial and misinformation, and Littman suggested that Trump's potential public health policies under Kennedy's influence could isolate the US from key health frameworks, creating a ripple effect for allied countries, including the UK. Yet even among Trump's most ardent critics, like Nick's caller Sally from Horton Hill, there's a struggle to grasp why nearly half of the American electorate remains committed to him. It's a conundrum expressed in Wildian terms, a sentiment of two nations divided by a common language, as Nick mused on air. Despite linguistic and historical bonds, there exists a chasm between British and American conceptions of leadership. Where Britain expects stability and decorum, the US electorate prizes disruption. The hypothetical outcome of a Harris victory would pivot the narrative. Trump's avenues for litigation relief would shrink if he would no longer have executive leeway to delay the cases. Littman posited that under a President Harris, Trump's ability to play immunity games with the courts would drastically diminish, placing him firmly in the maw of the criminal justice system. But beyond the legal implications, the election's results echo a deeper social choice. Is America willing to let go of stability in favor of ideological fervor, in favor of the tyranny of emotion? As Nick observed, there's a peculiar thrill among voters who see Trump as a moral liability, but as a beacon of anti-establishment defiance. It's a pull towards chaotic politics, one that a more pragmatic British sensibility may struggle to reconcile. In the end, this election it's not just a policy decision, it's an existential reckoning. The UK audience, looking on, including callers like Nick Sally, grapple with why such a reckoning isn't more straightforward. But if Trump's base ultimately prevails, Littman warns of an emboldened presidency characterized not only by unprecedented criminal leniency, but by a presidency seemingly impervious to the rule of law, a model that's uncharted even in America's storied political life. That's the point, actually, that Lord Hague, William Hague, was making, that he has supported Republican presidents in the past, but he can't support Trump because Trump doesn't acknowledge the rule of law. And without the rule of law, the country, the system, falls to pieces. How can Trump possibly take the final decision about somebody on death row or somebody who is charged with the same charges that he faces? I'm all for mercy. Oh my goodness, am I for mercy? It's one of the attributes of God, the merciful. But I don't. This Trump position beggars belief. The leader of America facing such criminal charges that he's either in prison the moment he steps out of the White House after being president, or he's in prison before Kamala Harris has finished her term of office. It's almost unthinkable that 50% of the American populace are behind this man. What has he done to elicit such support, whether he wins or not? What has he done that the population can overlook these crimes?